So we're back at Silicon Beach. I'm here with Robert Belgrave, who is the CEO of Wirehive. Could you tell us a little bit about what Wirehive is all about?
Wirehive fundamentally is a hosting company, but I don't think that really does it justice. Hosting companies generally are kind of sterile IT businesses, and we come at it from a much more creative angle, working typically in partnership with agencies and some of the more exciting brands to help them deliver those great experiences they want to give their consumers.
So working in an area like that, people would generally think it's geeky, it's not creative. Do you think that what you do has got creativity within it?
Yeah, I do. I think that, like you say, technology is often seen as kind of a very academic kind of thing, and it's not something where there's an opportunity for creativity, but every day we're solving problems which have many different options. It's very sort of diverse challenges, and I think sort of engaging that creative brain and looking at how you can fit the jigsaw together is a really important part of what we do.
And you're also, I guess, as a CEO of a company, you're running a company that you know fine well that in 5 years' time the environment will have completely changed, and that as a business, Wirehive will be quite radically different in 5 years from what it is now. Yeah. How can that's a form of creative management that's required as you're having to adapt and pivot constantly. How can you run an organization that you know you can't settle down into one particular way of doing things? You have to constantly adapt.
Yeah, I think probably one of the things that is both incredibly challenging and really exciting about running a technology business is if you stand still, you die, you become extinct. You have to constantly evolve, and I think that's kind of to your point. Personally, I relish that challenge because I think it keeps it fresh. I'm one of those guys that's not very good at something, doing the same thing over a long period of time. So I think maybe that's one of the things that attracted me to technology in the first place. And then talking about what we've done at Wirehive, I've always believed that if you get culture right and you create an amazing group of people who love where they work, then they're open-minded to change, actually, and that whatever the new challenge is that's thrown at you as a business, you can all kind of attack it collectively. And it's a bit of a cliche, but as long as everyone's rowing in the same direction, then you'll get there in the end. And I think that the team we've got have gone through 3 or 4 different iterations of Wirehive in the 5 years we've been running it, and I'm sure there'll be a few more in the future. And it's I think it's a good challenge and something that most people who work in technology seem to really enjoy.
So there's a lot that you have to consider when a company's constantly changing. You've got the skills, and how do you go about? Do you unlearn and then relearn, or do you hire different people to do those skills? And when there's some things that are coming in that people haven't picked, no one knows the skills yet because it's a totally new area. How do you hire for that kind of thing?
I think the type of people we're looking for generally, certainly in the more technical roles, are people who have a passion for technology. So it's their hobby as well as their career. And I think people who are curious, people who are experimenting and exploring new technology in their own time. We have some examples of things our staff have set up. We have a drone club where they build and race their own drones. We have a number of people very into the sort of maker movement with 3D printing and laser cutting. We recently launched a rebrand, and we decided rather than sending out some corporate communication, we would hand cut wooden coasters with a laser etched logo in them, and our team built them themselves and did all the varnishing and everything. So I guess that kind of mindset, the sort of curious technical guy, is generally those people actually are going to be experimenting with the new stuff on their own time, so they bring that skill set to work, and I guess it sort of simplifies that process for us somewhat.
Now, you also, with your interest in the creative industries and creativity, you also have the Wirehive Awards, so that you are getting the community of creative agencies and sort of digital companies that are particularly outside London. So we're looking at places where it's not necessarily where people think the action's happening. It's everywhere else. What trends are you seeing within agencies that are outside the main hub? Are they following what's happening here, where the action is supposed to be happening? Or are they doing their own thing and creating their own communities? How is that working?
That's a good question. I think Definitely a blend of the two. I think there are sort of leaders and followers, probably in every industry, but in digital, I think there are some guys who are just sort of following the big network agencies in London who, and sort of reaping some of the rewards of that. Also, I think there are agencies that are actually kind of mavericks that are going in their own directions. One example who I'd name drop would be one of our partners called Lab, who are doing a lot of work with neuroscience and really bringing that into the mix. And I think that they're punching way above their weight there, actually, in terms of the respect they're getting in the industry and some of the client conversations they're having as a result. And personally, I think there's a real opportunity there to do something quite exciting. And there are definitely other examples outside of London of agencies that are sort of approaching things a bit differently and trying to sort of reinvent the models that perhaps are a little bit stale now in some cases. Not always with great results, but sometimes with amazing results. And I think just being willing to try is kind of half the battle. The awards was set up to kind of highlight the fact that there is amazing talent outside of London, not to take anything away from the great talent in London, obviously. We've seen, we're lucky to be in that position where we get to be at that kind of cross-section where we get to see all the different things that are going on, and it's incredibly inspirational every year. And I'm proud of what we've achieved with it, really, and what we've been able to do to kind of support the industry in this area.
So with that kind of view, where you're looking at the industry, but you're kind of removed from it, what opportunities are you seeing in the creative industries that maybe some people are taking advantage of, but other people aren't? What do you think are the big sort of areas that more people should be looking at, I guess?
Bringing technology into everything, it seems to be the way the world is going. And I think that much in the way that it was digital marketing, but now it's just marketing, and of course it's digital, I think that doing more complex things with technology like machine learning and AI is the kind of current buzz. In 5 years' time, that'll just be how technology is done. It won't be a thing people will even verbalize anymore. So I guess looking for those trends and introducing them into your methodology as quickly as possible, and getting a really deep understanding of how you can use those things to maximize the value of a campaign or a project or whatever you might be doing. That seems to be the thing that sets the kind of leaders from the followers apart. Right now it's the neuro stuff, it's AI and machine learning, it's VR. Who knows what'll be next? I'm sure we wouldn't be sitting here talking about creativity if we knew that. We'd be off doing the Zuckerberg thing. But folding the new technologies into your everyday proposition seems to be what gives you that advantage.
Fantastic. Robert, thank you very much indeed.